Hey guys, so sorry, this review is up really late. Sorry. I've had a busy weekend and just I've been a bit tired lately. So I was gonna do it yesterday. And I was like, I'm not feeling so great today, which I'm not feeling great today either. But anyway, um, the episode was really good. It was called Suffrix, which should make it really obvious this episode was about math in some form. But it was also dealt a lot with Watson, and if you remember from the first season, Watson, um, it was revealed that she stopped practicing as a surgeon because of a mistake she made in a surgery that caused the loss of a life of one of her patients. And they really touched base on that in this episode. In fact, in like one of the first actual scenes, because after the title card, the credits rolled, there was the murder part where they showed someone getting murdered. There was a guy who was mugging this other man, and he didn't kill the man. He just mugged him and like hit him in the head, stabbed him down. Then he ran to like check what he had gotten, and then he saw a murder. And so they didn't, because after least the mystery, they didn't show who the murderer was, of course. But the man, the mugger, ended up surviving. Um, he ended up surviving, and he was in like a really, he was put in ICU because it didn't look like he was gonna make it, but he did. I'll tell you about that in a minute. What happened to that? And then when the episode actually fully opened, it started with Watson at a cemetery, looking over someone's grave, and it didn't have the name Watson on it, so I was like, it's not family related. And then this guy, he was like, he has to at least be 20 or something like that, in his 20s. He walks up to Watson and is like, Dr. Watson, and she knows him. His name is Joey. I don't remember his last name, but he was the son of the patient who died in her care, which is her last patient ever that she had as a surgeon. And what happened is that the mother ended up suing her because she felt that it was her fault, which in a way it was, because Watson and Sherlock, later in the episode, they had a conversation where Watson was like, oh, we've never really talked about this, have we? I've never told you what happened. And she tells him about everything that happened with this patient, because he had a tumor, and she was going in to do just the procedures, to take it out, and she ended up nicking, I can't remember. I think it was a part of the heart, though. It was a vein or something for a heart. I cannot remember for the life of me. It makes me sad because, like, I could probably point it out to you on a diagram, but I don't have one. But yeah, she ended up nicking a very vital portion of his body, and it within seconds, his entire volume of blood like just drained into his abdomen, and he died. And so the son had during that time, I think it was like it had to be months or something later or something, the boy Joey, he ended up sending a letter to Watson and telling her how he forgave her and he didn't think it was her fault. But Watson, she has a lot of guilt for that because she feels like it was her fault because something happened in the operating room that she can't explain, and she doesn't know how it happened, and she ended up taking life, and it pretty much destroyed her career as a surgeon. And so she feels as if she needs to take care of Joey, especially because the boy doesn't look like he's doing so well. He is he dropped out of school, and he was going, because he had a full scholarship for engineering, and now he doesn't have anymore because he dropped out. Now he's trying to open a bar, and he asked for Watson's help, monetary help. It's money, and I was worried for the longest because Watson actually like she's gonna help him. She had to ask Sherlock for advancement and her money, which she was asking for $5,000, which is a lot of money. And I was pretty sure Sherlock was just gonna be like, no, nope. And he didn't. He was like, he wanted to know who was it for? Because she just said a friend, a son of a friend, or something. And so for the longest between this whole episode, involved with the case and with Watson, it turned out that Charlotte ended up giving her more money in the end. He gave her $22,000, which was all that he had on him, he said. And he said, he's like, do what you will with it, or whatever. You know what to do is right. What you know what you will do, and hopefully it'll be right, or something like that. And Watson ended up, and then Sherlock called her clever, because she basically gave Joey an ultimatum. She said, I'm only gonna help you with your education, so in order for you to get this money, I'm giving you a new scholarship and you're going back to school, basically. And he didn't really go, that didn't go over well with him, because he thought she was gonna give him the money to open the bar with his friend or whatever. But she saw she saw a lot of worth in him, and she wanted him to see that she wasn't just doing this for his own good. She was doing this for his father, who she talked to a lot before his death, and she got to know him, and she felt like this is something that his father would want for him. He would want him to succeed and not just do something on a whim. And so, okay, now I gotta talk about the case, because that's what happened. And another thing, Sherlock, when he was talking to Watson, he's at the very end, after the case was solved, he was like, I'll go with you next time when you go visit him at the cemetery. And they had this little moment. It was very adorable, and they just kind of looked at each other and then walked away and was smiling. Because I feel like the season would be more interesting as far as the relationship goes, because it has a very different feel from last season. Because last season she was just trying to get to know him and try to help him go back on the right track after his rehabilitation. And this season it's very more personal, very much so. You can tell how strong their bond is, and it's amazing. Okay, so the case, I'm gonna point out some things, because I know I've heard these names before. So Software X, which is the name of this episode, as I said already, focuses on this huge problem, which it's a math problem. Obviously, it's called P versus MP, which is one of the 7 largest unsolvable math problems. And I'm not a person who knows, well, I know how to do math, but I'm not a genius at it. Granted, but so what happens is, what I already said was, the man got shot, and he saw the mugger saw the man getting shot. And when Detective Bell and Sherlock went to the scene, because Sherlock met Bell at the scene, even though Sherlock had texted him and told him that he heard a shooting on his scanner or something, and he showed up without Watson. And Bill was like, where's your better half this morning? I'm like, that's funny. And so they went in. It turns out it's this mathematician who was working on this problem, P versus MP. And they couldn't find anything for a moment. And then Sherlock started sniffing the wall, and he smelt something. I can't remember what it was called. It was some kind of, it's basically the kind of ink that they were using. It's that invisible ink, and it was in different colors. So he's like, there has to be a black light around here, because the light wasn't work. Like the light in the room, the huge room wasn't working, so he found a lamp which had a black light on it. And so he pulled it in the center room and turned it on. And him to go like, oh, because it was covered in all this type of formulas, and it was one problem, the P versus NP they were working on. And so it turned out that they were getting closer to solving it, and there were a lot of people interested in the solution because it had a lot of results for the actual world. One was being able to, put the proof into certain coding, and being able to come out with outcomes to other problems that might have not been so easy digitally. And one of those companies was God, I can't remember the name. It's Rose something, I know that. And it turns out they were spying on the. It turns out Soto, that was the first victim who got shot in the building with the mugger saw. His name was Soto, Felix Soto, and then the other one turned out to be his partner. Oh damn it, I lost his name. I forgot already. Okay, so he had a partner, and that partner also ended up being shot like an hour later, a few hours later than he had been shot. And so they were both in they Sherlock had thought that the partner was the one who did it because he was jealous because something was going on, or he was about to be finished, but they were working together in order to solve the problem, obviously. So it turned out the man died. Like Detective Bell had called Sherlock because they're about to go visit the partner, and the partner was dead, and they went to visit the morgue, and that's why him and Watson had the discussion about what happened all those years, the year ago when she was still practicing surgery. And after that, they had to find another suspect to follow since that man was dead, and they stumbled upon this professor who also was a mathematician, and she wrote articles about all the different mathematicians who was working on P versus NP. And so they had thought that's when they thought they had stumbled upon the partner, like who they thought he was the one who did it, but he's dead. So then they went back and they dug a bit more until they had seen who it was, and it turned out it was the woman, the professor, mathematician, article writer person, and she made a perfect alibi, which was not correct. It's kind of funny because I was just reading, because I read mangas and watches anime sometimes, and one of my favorites is called Detective Conan, which is actually parts of it are inspired by Sherlock Holmes, because the detective in that one is very inspired by Holmes. And so it's kind of funny because this exact same scenario, like pieces of it are in the chapter I just finished reading, and it's called The Perfect Alibi. So basically it's kind of like that. Anyway, off subject, I just thought it was a fun little tidbit. If you read that and you know what I'm talking about, then cool, kudos to you. That was a pun. No. See, if you go, just search it and you'll understand why I thought that was funny. Cause kudos. No shush. Okay, back to what I was saying. Her perfect alibi was that she said she was out that night with a friend, like they were on a date or something at this pub bar place. And so they got the camera footage from it, and it looked as though she was telling the truth, but she had gotten her friend, who she was at lunch with, to go in and change the timestamp so that it would say that it was so and so time, and like what time it actually was. And so they found out because they got the man to talk, because they had to talk to him about the alibi and about her alibi, and so they got him to spill everything. How they had originally met at like 5 or something, and she had said they had met at like 8 to 10 so and so, that was the time frame of the murder. So it made it seem like she didn't kill him, right? And so they went through and they found out from the guy who ends up being he's a very techy person. He knows how to do that. He was on helped her with the coding in order to, you know, fix that issue. And so they get her in the room. I love this part so much. So there was it was pretty much everyone in the room. It was Gregson, Sherlock, Watson, and Detective Bell. They were all in the room with her, and this was before they knew it was her. They were like lumping on all these different kinds of um evidence against her, and she was saying it's not true or whatever. And then I think it was funny because they were how organically they worked together to like pile that on her. And they had the perfect motive and everything. It was one of my favorite scenes ever. I might have to get it and put it on Tumblr because it was so brilliant. And then so after that happened, the way they got her basically was after the guy talked or whatever. They Sherlock had, you know, I guess he had went to a school where she worked, the college, and oh god, wow, my words are getting weird. He had basically, he explained how he knew what she did, and then she's arrested for killing both of them because, oh, I forgot this part. The reason why Sherlock knew it was her because remember the mugger in the beginning of the episode. The mugger was able to identify her because he saw her face, and he identified her from a picture. And they're like, "That's her." He's like, "Are you sure?" "Yep, that I'm positive that's the girl." And so, yeah, so that's how they got it because they had an eyewitness. And so yeah, she went to jail. Well, she didn't get to, actually no, she didn't actually go to jail because okay, before Sherlock tells Watson he will go to cemetery with next time. Before that, he's looking at because he has this projector with all the whole formula from you know, Soto and his partner that they were working on, you know, the blacklight one, and he told him, "I'm just looking at the P versus MP for the last time." And Watson's like, "What do you mean for the last time?" She's like, oh crap, I forgot the organization, but this organization is trying to make a deal with the NYPD because they feel that she's a danger to society because she was able to do that. She was able to, you know, finish the problem and create this so much damage. And Sherlock, he doesn't like it at all. He's basically feeling like this is just stupid. So it's basically the math world or something, trying to find a way to not get one of the greatest mathematicians incarcerated because they could use her. Basically, they find her useful, but she killed 2 people, which is bad for the P versus MP solution, which is horrible. And so yeah, they ended up solving the case, but it came with a very bad ending that way. But the sweet scene between Sherlock and Watson ended the episode, which was nice, very very nice. So yeah, it was a good episode, and I'm sorry for this late review, guys, because, you know, the new episode is about to come out in like 2 days, right? And so you'll probably see me again on Friday with the review. And so yeah, I hope you like this very late review. I'll see you guys Friday. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.